You didn't train today. How you feeling?
Feeling good, yeah. Pretty normal for me these days on a 6-day break not to train 2 days post-game. So I've pulled up well, yep, and I'll be playing this week.
A lot of you that went out there is obviously Josh's finger is obviously pretty yuck at the moment. Have you had a good look at that?
No, I didn't want to look at it. Yeah, a few missing today. I think late in the year, as I said, 6-day break, it's probably pretty normal for the age demographic of our list to have a few missing from today's session. So nothing out of the ordinary, but I think nothing too serious out of the weekend. Maybe TK's the only one, I think.
How difficult would it be for Josh from a hand point of view, do you reckon, marking-wise with a significant finger injury?
Yeah, I mean, you need your fingers to mark, and he's busted all 10 of them over the years. But yeah, this one was pretty significant, but he's played through some pretty gruesome things in his time, and he's as tough as they come. So part of me thinks he'll be fine.
Do you expect Willie to be on the plane or in the waffle?
I expect him to be up for selection, which is exciting. So, you know, he's done everything we've asked him to do since he's come back. He's wholeheartedly bought into what we're about, and it's been great to have him back. Real energy lift. He just wants to play footy again. So for him to possibly get that opportunity this week is really exciting.
As a skipper, what's your thought? Where do you think a player who's returning from that amount of time should return through?
I just think we need to weigh up the facts and where he's at. So if he's feeling good, if he's in our best 22 this week, when we take into account all our injuries and all our form, then we play him.
Have you got the energy for where he's at? Have you got a feel for that? Is he training the house down or anything at all?
I think he's okay. He does Rioli things in training. You know, he doesn't need match fitness to do that. So long as he's not at injury risk with all the or the lack of playing. As I said, if he's in our best 22 when it's all said and done, then you probably play him. But fortunately, I don't have to make those decisions. But it'd be cool. It'd be a great story for him.
Does that energy lift come from him and just having him around, or does it come from the excitement of what he can do? Yeah, I think the way he plays, and we've loved to see him the way he's bought in to. The way we've wanted him to go about it, to see him buy in the way he has been a real lift. But the way he plays and the things he does, things that not many people can do, is special to witness. And we've sort of missed that over the last little period. What was the review like for you?
Oh, it was disappointing. Yeah, they were far too good when the game was on the line in the first quarter, and that was always going to be a tough deficit to come back from. Did
you focus on the first quarter in more depth than you did the rest of the game, or how did you break up the review?
We didn't have to go into too much depth. It was pretty obvious what we did poorly. That was our inability to stick our tackles and be clean inside the contest, which they were exceptional at. So tip your hat to them, and as I said, that head start, if you're relying on having a really good second, third and fourth quarter to try and get back into it, you're always backs against the wall and not going to win too many of them, I don't think.
Just with the Rioli thing, Adam got asked last night just about reintroducing him back into the team, and I guess what the response is from the playing group. As a player, is there any sort of malice towards him or expectation that he comes through to prove himself through waffle, or is it simply that mentality of best 22?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's best 22. It always is, and if there was any malice, which there isn't, but if there was, we wouldn't have had him back in the first place. So, as I've said before to you guys, it was open arms. The decision when we weighed everything up to bring him back was, we all bought into as a playing group and as a footy club, and he's ticked all the boxes along the way, and his body's good. So, when the coaches have to look at who's available and pick the best team to try and knock Brisbane off, if he's in it, I don't see why we wouldn't play him.
Have you spoken to Tim, and how's he managing, sort of the setback, probably a disappointing end to the season?
Yeah, he's obviously had that to deal with earlier in the year. I'm pretty sure it's the same side, so we had a little bit of a laugh about it. It was me that fell on his leg, so he reckons I owe him a couple of beers at the end of the year, but that's footy. He's had a good run. He said this morning he's had a good run with injuries in his first few years. But yeah, it's unfortunate. We've had a few injuries this year as a playing group, but that one you can't avoid. So it is what it is.
You're in an interesting position, I reckon, from a leadership point of view with Willie, given that you came back through the waffle after 12 weeks, Elliot Yeo came back through the waffle, and the blokes who are playing in the waffle who have been banging down the door hoping to get picked, who might get overlooked if he comes in. What would your messaging be to them if they're not picked after having form behind them and Willie comes in without any playing form?
Well, when we decided to bring him back, it was, if he's in our best 22, we're going to play him. We're not just going to not play him because he hasn't been here for the last 2 years. We're all about what's happening this year, and if anyone had a problem with that, then we could discuss it. But everyone was all for getting him back on board, and that was a really good sign of, not that we supported what had happened in his life, but we support him and his journey to get back to hopefully playing footy with us one day. And the reward is for him for doing everything right. The reward is that possibly that's this week.
So that meeting with everyone to discuss that before he came back, how important was that in hindsight, so that it's not something that could fester within players who are hoping to get picked this week and they know the situation well and truly in advance?
Yeah, well, it's clearly not an issue you want to sweep under the rug. So we needed to have a little discussion around it. It wasn't a 2-hour-long roundtable chat, but the opportunity for anyone to speak was there, and no one did. And the boys have really loved having him back behind closed doors. He's been great. I was getting a massage the other day and he walked past and ripped my hairs out the back of my leg. So that told me he was pretty comfortable being back. And we love him and we'd love to see him get an opportunity.
From a welfare perspective, Luke, I know at the time we got caught at the airport, Craig Bozzo said that there's potentially an issue that he needs help with here, and ongoing help. Do you know if he's been getting that help and where he's at with that side of things?
He's had a really close auntie or his sister he's living with her. So I think that's been obviously helpful for Willie, being from the Tiwi Islands and growing up, to have someone that close under the same roof as him is always going to be beneficial. But he's got great people here to lean on as well. And that was the biggest thing from our point of view, was we can try and source out any external help we can for him, but at the end of the day, he's going to need people inside these four walls, and he certainly had that. So, and it's paid dividends. He's comfortable. He's loving what he's been able to do the last few weeks, and he's in a good headspace.
Do you know, in terms of, there was obviously issues which led to his suspension in the first place, and then the court stuff up in the NT there. I mean, do you know if that's something that he's dealing with away from the club, or is that all incorporated in the club as well?
To be honest, mate, I don't really speak to him about that stuff, and I don't know if he'd want to be talking about that at the footy club unless it's a one-on-one with the people he wants to chat about it to. We've made it clear that if he does want to talk about those things, we're here for him, but that's not something we're going to go forward and really pressure him to talk about. The ball's in his court with that, so we're here to help him with his footy and catching up on what he's missed out on over the last few years, and we'll back him and all his people in to take care of the off-field stuff.
You mentioned he's done Rioli things at training. Like, when you see him doing stuff, do you realise how much you've missed having that skill and that X factor inside 50? Yeah,
for sure. Him, Dan Venables is another one. Obviously, tragic end for him, but we've really missed those guys over the last couple of years, and we've seen guys come in and play their roles, which has been great. And we've got guys who are going to play a lot of footy for the footy club, but when you take guys like Willie and Veners out of the side, it leaves a little bit of a hole. But we've been able to patch over it for the most part. But I mean, it's hard to find the skill level of guys like Willie. So I speak on behalf of all our fans. I'm sure they're all looking forward to hopefully seeing him represent the club again. And I'm sure he'll pick up where he left off.
What's been the feeling sort of just in the club sort of after the loss against Dockers and sort of essentially your fate being taken out of your own hands as far as whether or not you get into finals? I mean, what's kind of been the feeling around the club?
Well, we're realistic that, if you're going to dish up mediocre performances like we have this year, then unfortunately you often leave your fate in other people's hands. So that's what we've done, and we can't control that now, so we're set on trying to win this week, and that's all we can do. If the results go our way, that'd be fantastic. But if they don't, we got no one to blame but ourselves. And that's how brutal the competition is. We feel like there's been plenty of games. We haven't been that far off, but I mean, game on the weekend, 15 minutes in the first quarter, we cough up a a real slow start, and it cost us a game in the end. So that's probably happened too many times this year, and that's why you get to this stage of the year and you rely on other results, which isn't a great position to be in.
You mentioned the missed tackles, Luke, and Adam brought that up post-game as well. Is that something you can train and rectify within a week, or is that a longer-term fix?
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's definitely something you need to work on, but a lot of it's got to be in the head as well, and the commitment to getting it right. And sometimes, subconsciously with these things on your mind, you do them better. So, potentially addressing it at quarter time was the reason for the turnaround. But, you can't dish up what we dished up in the first quarter and expect to get the ball back. They were far too clean and far too good for us.
Like, just on the waffle, you spent some time coaching when you were injured. What do you think the decision was to play Jordan Busher on someone like Tyler Keitel and not play Josh Rotham or Harry Edwards? Would that not give them the best opportunity to push a case to make it back into the AFL side?
Yeah, I think we're always looking for growth from other guys and potentially younger guys. So, maybe it wasn't so much the fact we wanted to give Bush time on Keitel. It was probably more trying to find other roles for the other guys that we threw around and seeing what more they can do. So, he's a pretty good forward, Keitel, and they were getting a little bit of a look going forward as well. So that was always going to be hard to stop. I don't think it would have mattered who we had on him in the end, but potentially looking at other avenues and other positions guys can potentially play going forward for us was probably the reason for that.
And a couple of those guys were very obviously frustrated throughout the game, especially the AFL guys that came back. As a leader, how do you maintain, what kind of conversations do you have with them so they're not frustrated and taking it out on players on the field? That's not a...
Yeah, I suppose the frustration's a good thing because you want guys to care about the results not going their way on the day, but we want to be able to channel it in the right way. So you want to make sure you're not giving away free kicks off the ball and losing sight of what you need to do to execute your own role. But frustration can often be a good thing, and not liking the position we were in on the weekend, I think there's benefits to that, but as long as it's controlled in the right way.
From a big picture league perspective at the moment, the possibility of finals being here obviously is being discussed, and Mark McGowan said yesterday he would be surprised if all players hadn't already been vaccinated. As a 31-year-old who's been in quarantine a fair portion of the year, are you vaccinated? Have you been able to get vaccinated? Has it even been an option for you guys yet?
I'm not vaccinated. There's probably a few things guys take into account, and I think for a lot of the year we weren't eligible. I haven't really looked into it, to be honest. I'll probably do it. I'll probably get vaccinated when I can. But the thing for us is the potential side effects and whether that affects your preparation going into a game is the risk. And that was probably my biggest thing, was not wanting to, although I've only played 5 games for the year, not wanting to interrupt your preparation week to week. So we're in a safe environment in terms of there's minimal COVID around over here, which is great. We're abiding by certain rules and regulations, which keeps us safe, and we're getting tested twice a week. So the vaccination so far probably hasn't been high on the priority list, but I'd say guys will look into it when the opportunity is there, but I don't think that's got to be the determining factor whether we get the granny or not.
Do you think it would be hard for 20 to 30-year-olds who are playing professional sport at the moment in quarantine and flying around the country and not knowing where they're living one day to the next at times to actually get a booking and sort out their life with everything else you got going on?
Well, I can't speak on behalf of others, but there's probably a few obstacles in the way, but I can't speak on behalf of everyone else, mate.